The Rankin County Sheriff's Department says Sharon Young was arrested Wednesday after an investigation that lasted a week. A press release says deputies have evidence pointing to abuse, but deputies did not get specific. The man accused of killing Ole Miss student Jimmy J. Lee will be tried in Madison County, the judge in Lafayette County granting that change of venue for Timothy Harrington's second trial. No arrest has been announced in the Wednesday morning death of 68-year-old Jerry B. Lee, which happened on Abram Ford Drive. Jackson police say Lee was shot and stabbed, and the fatal wound was a gunshot to the head. Lee's body was found in a ditch near his house, and detectives are asking for tips. Tiffany Rochelle Burnside may eventually be returned to Indiana by deputies in Rankin County, but first she has some charges to face here, including posing as another woman during her September arrest and booking, and even after that. Burnside was pulled over back in September, and since then, deputies have learned she's out on parole in Virginia and has a warrant in Indiana. No major interruptions have been reported at Jackson Evers International Airport because of the federal government shutdown. But if you have a flight you have to catch, you are being urged to allow some extra time just in case. In some airports, like Nashville, air traffic controllers have called in sick because they're not being paid, and that has resulted in some delays getting the flights in and out. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome into the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are coming to you live from Cotton Exchange Plaza, the heart of Flora, from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. I'm joined today by former Representative Nick Bain, who we are so happy to have on the show today. How are you, Nick?
Hey, Lindsay, thanks for having me. Always good to be here. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So you have a fundraiser tonight.
Yeah, a little political event for some future endeavors that we have some opportunities for. Thank you for that, and looking forward to tonight and being in Madison with some folks around and talking about the future and talking about Mississippi. And I think one of the bases for that was, or one of the things we'll be talking about is some of the stuff we did with the fentanyl legislation for years,
right?
And helping with making people aware of the dangers of fentanyl, and then laws that we created. So I'm looking forward to continuing that that communication, that topic of conversation, and it just to tell some stories for some people.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's an important one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize just how deadly this stuff is until you hear the heartbreaking stories, the moms who have lost their children, and you are effective in passing what we know now as Parker's Law in the state of Mississippi, which deals with the way that we can prosecute these people who are distributing fentanyl and drugs like that.
That's right. Parker's Law was named after Parker Rodenbaugh, that a guy who lost his life at Mississippi State by the result of taking some of this stuff and synthetic opioids, and really cost him his life, and snuffed out in the prime of life, if you will. And the thing about it, and I tell people this story, I didn't really know. I was chairman of Judd B at the time. I really didn't know the dangers of this stuff. I really, my mind agenda, if you will, was on other things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Cordy Rodenbaugh came, his mother, telling his story. And we were able to listen to her and look at laws around the state, around the country, to create something that I believe is one of the best, that you alluded to, one of the best fentanyl homicide bills in the country. I tell that story because to your listeners and to anybody out there that, your legislators and your elected officials, believe it or not, they don't know everything. And they need people to tell them things. I mean, you and I have had this conversation before about bills that you've came and talked to me when I was chairman that I didn't really have my pulse on, but it mattered to you, and it mattered to people that you were connected to. So I tell people, that the fentanyl laws would not have been laws if citizens hadn't come and talked to me, AKA your legislators, because that's what they do. We don't have a wide knowledge of everything. I mean, you look at a legislative body, it's made up of people of all different types of professions. And the reason, and that's by design, because you bring that in. But the citizens, I think, have a duty to tell people, and because of that, we can pass some good legislation. So I encourage your listeners. Bottom line is, I encourage your listeners and those out there to not to be afraid to talk to your elected officials.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I learned that. I did not even know how a bill became a law. I
Right.
had no idea how complicated the process was, and that you could actually change things. I mean, you can yourself, if we all have different things that make us tick, we
Mhm.
all have different passions, and it's up to us. We're a government for the people, by the people.
That's right.
And so it's up to us, the people, to talk to you guys about the things that we're seeing in our everyday lives that we want to change. And it works. It really does work. And so many legislators that I've met with and talked to have been very open and willing to listen. Now, they can't promise me that the bill's going to come out of a committee or get through and be signed off into law by the governor. But even if that doesn't happen, at least you've put it on somebody's radar.
That's right. And that's, I think, incumbent upon us as citizens to talk to our elected officials about that. You're exactly right. I think that's the way that our country was designed, to have people to have that voice. That you're an elected representative. You're exactly right in the terms that sometimes it can't be done. In Parker's case, she came to me really when it was too late for us to do something in a year. But we spent the next year kind of delving into it and investigating it, having hearings on it, bringing in doctors and bringing in law enforcement about what the problems was. And then that next year, the next legislative session, we were able to do something. So even if you can't get it done immediately, you're exactly correct. And putting that on somebody's radar gives them the opportunity to investigate it, to see if it needs to be done, or to see if it's something that there's not a problem with.
Right. And bring it back the next session even
That's right.
stronger.
That's right.
You were a big part of a lot of legislation, and I don't know if the listeners know this, but the Judd B committee, I mean, that's where the big bills go. How would you describe the bills that are sent to the Judd B committee?
Yeah, Judiciary B, there's two. There's a Judiciary A and a Judiciary B. Judiciary B is what I was chairman of. It is what I would call a lot of your social issues, your abortion issues, your gun rights issues, your criminal justice bills, your law enforcement bills. A lot of those type of bills come to you. Social issues. I think in any given year, I would get. Generally, there's about 2,000 bills that are filed in the Mississippi House, and about another 1,000 to 1,500 filed in the Senate. But as far as 2,000 in the House, I would get, and the way that works is the Speaker then refers those bills to a committee. That there are various and sundry committees all in the legislature. I would get anything related to those topics. I'd also get some stuff not related to those topics that just went there to die, if you will. But you'd get 300 to 400. I'd get 300 to 400 bills a year to look through and to determine whether or not we need to make laws. Of those 300 to 400, we would bring out about 30, and of those 30 that would see the light of day, I'd say probably 20 would pass and go over to the Senate. And of that 20, maybe 10 to 15 would. We try to split it where we took half of their bills, they took half of ours. So, you'd end up with starting with roughly 500 bills between the House and the Senate, Judd B committees, and about 20 to 30 of those becoming law. And that's the way it should be. Legislation, I tell people, legislation should be difficult to make. The things that we honor most in our country is liberty and freedom. That's what we are as Americans. We believe in freedom, and generally any type of legislation that is created is whittling away a little bit of our freedom. You talk about, I used to give this example to school kids. What is freedom? And any type of law, take a speed limit law. Once you put a speed limit on that, it limits the freedom how fast you can drive on a road.
Mhm.
So that's any type of law generally limits that freedom, that liberty. So our founders and the way that our system works is to make it hard to create legislation, and that's generally the way it is.
Right, and I agree. It should be that way. And so, I mean, obviously, since the Judd V committee deals with a lot of the social issues, you saw me quite a bit up there.
Yeah, what you did.
and you did some really great things. You argued the library bill and the age of verification bill, which has now been deemed the porn bill. And I, a lot of people are not happy with me about that legislation. But and the REAP Act, which that stopped all gender affirming care and surgeries for minors in the state of Mississippi, which was an amazing thing to accomplish, especially at that time. It was before a lot of other states had started to do that.
Right.
And we were able to get that done. That was your committee as well, right?
Yeah. The REAP Act was exactly what you said, taking away the ability to do changing a gender of someone under the age of 18. That includes hormonal therapy and doing stuff like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we were spending millions of dollars, taxpayers were, a year for this type of surgery, this type of treatment. And really, we just didn't know. We didn't know enough about it. Somebody that wants to be 18, 21, they want to do that, that's fine. But somebody to do at under age of 18 and do a surgery that in all cases is irrevocable and something they can't change back or do, I think was just a little unconscionable, a little bit of putting the cart before the horse, if you will. And yes, we argued that bill in 2023. I argued that bill for about 6 hours on the floor. And really, for me, it was common sense. We're just if you're under the age of 18, they can't do the surgery on you. That was basically it. And we're not going to spend taxpayers' money to do so.
Exactly. And to me, I just feel like it's child abuse when you are cutting off body parts and they are barely through, the changes they go through as a teenager.
Right.
If they even are. And so many times we would see these people that have had the gender affirming care and have made these changes that can't be reversed, like you said, regret it after the fact. And so that was huge that you were able to get done and the Judd B committee was able to get through. I know changing the flag was a big deal.
Yeah.
Was that your committee too?
It didn't come through me. No, that was a kind of a special. I think it may even came through rules, but that was that all kind of happened. That was during the COVID session. Everything was weird that year. But that came in late through rules. Of course, I supported changing the flag. That was something we came out of in 23 as a result of a lot of things. And I don't regret that vote whatsoever. I always had the position that I would prefer for the people to vote to do it. But once the bill came down and we weren't given that, my personal opinion and the way I felt what was best for the state of Mississippi was to change it. And I think you're seeing that all over. You're seeing people are proud of it. People are proud to wear it on their shirt or the cap. And I know young people, it warms my heart when my daughter just moved into Ole Miss, and how you see all the dorm pictures of everybody on Facebook and all their kids doing all this stuff. It warms my heart to see kids 18, 19 years old hanging that flag up on their wall and being proud of doing that. So I think it's a hugely popular move for us. We have had the strongest 5-year economic development period in the history of Mississippi. No other 5-year period has been as prominent and has been as boisterous as this 5-year period since 2020. I'm not saying the flag did that, but I'm not saying it hurt either.
No, I think it definitely helped.
I think one of the core things of a government, Lindsay, is to create an environment that is conducive to economic growth, that is conducive to making citizens successful. And sometimes that's removing things. And I believe that we live in a global economy now, a world that looks at everything, and anything that makes us competitive or anything that makes us non-competitive, we need to examine. And I think the flag did inhibit a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And did you catch a lot of heat?
Oh yeah.
For your vote?
Yeah. No, I think that's why, I think ultimately that's why I lost my seat, was because of my flag vote. My last election, it wore me out.
You lost by how many votes?
25 or so.
25 votes.
Yeah. And it was really, that was, everybody said, look, we've always been with you, and we're going to support you, but you voted to change the flag. So it really, and I get that, and that's people's prerogative, and that's their choice. But for me, it was the right thing to do, and I think it's proven over time. And now we have enough sample size to say that it has made Mississippi better and stronger, and will continue to do so in the future.
Yeah, and I know, like you were talking about, definitely the economic growth shows that it was just the right thing. It was just time. It was time to do it.
Yeah.
And you have been praised for the way you handled that election, because most politicians would be kicking and screaming and wanting a recount and wanting to challenge it. And you were very humble and gracious, and people really saw that in you at the end of that election.
Well, I appreciate that. And we are public servants, and if you hold yourself out to be a public servant, you have to you have to live by whatever decision the public has. And I still, as you know, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, I have other aspirations and other desires to continue to serve in Mississippi, and I don't believe that Mississippi is done with me yet. So that's why there was no benefit for me to act any other way, and it's not my nature really, but there was no benefit. But I do appreciate your kind words in saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got to take our first commercial break, but when we get back, I want to get Nick's opinion on this upcoming legislative session, and the hot topics that we're hearing are going to come up there in January, February, and March. He knows all about what that's like. So we're going to hear from him and see what he thinks about some of these issues that have been front and center here recently. Stay with us. We will be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show, WIAB 103.9. We'll be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show, WIAB 103.9.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Friday night lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now, that's our kind of hunt. Make it a sweep the kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South, we keep our football loud and our pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
Here's John and Corey Ravenstein for Juniker Jewelry Company.
In Mississippi, hunting isn't a sport, it's a religion.
All my buddies grew up hunting, and I don't miss a season today.
Being a straight shooter, being safe, honest, and accurate in the field is the most important thing of all.
It's exactly the same way when it comes to diamonds. You want a hunting buddy who can teach you all the secrets of the diamond business.
So you really know diamond grading, the 4 C's, and how you get the most diamond for your hard-earned money.
That's exactly what you get when you shop for your diamond at Juniker Jewelry Company.
As Mississippi's direct diamond importers, we're a target-rich environment with 10 times the diamonds you'll find in average stores.
And diamond for diamond, the guaranteed best price in the state.
And that's shooting you straight.
9 out of 10 Mississippi women agree.
The more a man hunts,
the more he needs Junikers.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. From anywhere in Mississippi, we're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to elevate your next dinner? The ultimate destination for wine lovers is 042 Wine and Spirits on West Government Street in Brandon. The locally owned, the locally operated 042 Wine offers something for everyone, from local favorites to rare vintage wines. 042 Wine and Spirits can help you find your next favorite wine. The friendly and knowledgeable folks at 042 Wine and Spirits will help you find the perfect bottle for every occasion. 042 Wine and Spirits, located on West Government Street in Brandon.
Looking for adventure, amazing food, and a little relaxation all in one place? You'll find it at Cypress Point Resort in Brandon. Load up the family and experience a real drive-through safari, petting zoo, and thrilling guided Jeep tours. Then slow it down with mouth-watering steaks at the steakhouse, or grab drinks and live music at the tavern. Planning a wedding or reunion? Cypress Point Resort has beautiful venues and cozy lodging. Ready for your big day or just a weekend escape? It's everything you love about the outdoors with a touch of luxury. Cypress Point Resort. Wild fun right around the corner.
Burgers, blues, barbecue, the name says it all. At our spots in Madison, downtown Brandon, and Flowood at Dogwood, dive into mouth-watering, award-winning burgers and barbecue like our tender brisket and savory pulled pork that'll have you licking your fingers clean. Our B3 Catering Company can handle any job from 5 to 5,000 people, and with 2 food trucks ready for all your special events. Check out the all-new burgersblues.com to view our full menu, order carryout, and delivery by locally owned Take a Break Deliveries.
Come together right now. Oh.
We are back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show, where we are talking with former House Representative Nick Bain. Nick, what district did you represent? It's Corinth area?
Yeah, District 2, Corinth, Alcorn County, way up in northeast Mississippi.
Gotcha. And this upcoming legislative session, we are hearing, what I guess we believe some of the hot topics will be. Now, when you first left the legislature, is that when you joined the group that was fighting for ballot initiative?
Yeah,
process being put back?
I think it's called Ballot Access Mississippi, BAM, basically. But it was just a
BAM,
group,
that's right.
a group that was setting forth to try to return a fair and equitable ballot initiative to Mississippi. If people will remember, I don't remember what year it would have been, but the Mississippi Supreme Court overturned our ballot initiative, basically saying, I think it was 19 actually, but basically saying that the way that it was done was unconstitutional, and that the legislature need to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, to find out a new way to do a ballot initiative. So that left Mississippi and her citizens without the ability to have a referendum on the ballot. My last couple of years, I know I handled the bill at least twice that would have returned a ballot initiative to citizens. It varied in different ways. It had a threshold of a number of people that would have to come, of a number of electors that would have to come to sign it to put it onto the ballot. It limited what could be voted on. I think abortion was one of those that you couldn't vote on that issue. Maybe some other issues. I have no problem with the ballot initiative as long as it's narrowly tailored and that there's ways that we can kind of control. A lot of times you see in other states they have one, Lindsay, that allows money to come in, and these out of state groups will put a bunch of money in, and they will get a petition up, and they get it qualified for the referendum, and it gets on the ballot, and you're voting on issues maybe like the transgender for minors issue, or you're voting for issues regarding Medicaid expansion or abortion issues. So I have no issue with a ballot initiative.
But that's kind of the concern, right? Are these interest groups coming in and pouring money into a certain issue?
Yeah. The George Soros of the world, if you will, pouring into an issue that may not be something Mississippi is ready for. There's been talk about creating a ballot initiative that essentially acts as a poll that just gives people, how do you feel about this issue, and it's a poll, and then the legislature would in some way take it up and then create a law based on that instead of actually making a law from a referendum. So in any event, I think people should have that direct voice if it's narrowly tailored. But again, it goes back to how we started all of this. You have your voice. If you go and talk to your legislators, you go and talk to your elected officials.
And you have a voice in voting on who those people are that represent you as well.
100%. And that's the way the whole system's made, is you vote on who you want to represent you, and that representative should be willing to talk to you and listen to you, because you ultimately control their job.
Right, exactly. And they work for the citizens, for their constituents.
Right.
It seems like every year during the legislative session, there's kind of the big topic. I know, like this last year, it was Medicaid expansion was the one that was really big. One of your years, it was the flag. That was the really big issue that year. It's looking like this upcoming legislative session, unless there's a special session called prior to that, it's this year it's going to be school choice.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What do you think?
School choice really became an issue when my whole time in the legislature, but it really started my first year in 2012. Republicans taking over. Philip Gunn had become the speaker, and this really started this momentum, which of education reform in Mississippi, where we started labeling the schools different, started with some school choice programs like the vouchers for special needs in some regards, speech therapy, some of those that were passed, charter school legislation that was expanded, the third grade reading gate. All of those ideas started in really 2012 and have started coming forward now. And I think you've seen as a result of those, everybody calls it the Mississippi Miracle, which appears to be a real thing, that Mississippi has moved the needle in education, and we are now a model to be followed with a lot of the reforms that we've done. So I say all that to say school choice has its place in Mississippi. It certainly has its place within the education framework of Mississippi. Does that mean we do away with public schools? No, not at all.
Right.
Not 100%, not at all. Where I'm at, Northeast Mississippi, public schools are very strong. They're very good. And that's all we have. We don't have any academies up there, really. There's some in Tupelo and in the Holly Springs area, and I'm probably missing some. But for the most part, everybody is either homeschooled or in public schools. So that framework may not work in Northeast Mississippi, but that doesn't mean it won't work in Central Mississippi or in the Delta or in South Haven, wherever. So I think it goes back a lot to what do the parents should have the right to educate their child how they want to and do what they want to. It also goes back to right to the locals. The locals should be able to dictate what's best for their communities and how they spend their taxpayers' money. So I applaud the legislature on creating some school choice. Now, does that mean to make it wide open? I don't know. Does it mean to make it narrow? I think it's the speaker's doing it the correct way. He's having hearings on it. He's bringing in people like you and other people who have a say in it and have some education to it, who do it for a living, to determine what is best for Mississippi. So I applaud that. And one of the things that we did in 2012, which I didn't vote for the charter school bill in 2012, simply because I was from a strong public school background, but I didn't vote for it because at that time I was on the education committee. I didn't feel as though the infrastructure in Mississippi was in place. I didn't think we had the leadership. We didn't have a state superintendent, number one, but we didn't have leadership that I felt was in place to help foster and nurture a school choice program. So, we didn't pass in 12. We came back in 13. It was the same thing. They worked through it and they passed a charter school bill that I think was better than what they had in 12. So, to answer your question, school choice absolutely has a place in Mississippi. I look forward to seeing what's going to come down the pipe, whether that's in a special session, as we both have heard they may have here in a couple of weeks, or if it goes into a regular session, it will be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think, and we were talking about this off air, but I think it'll be a lot more likely to get done in a special session rather than in the big session with, like you said, thousands of bills that are dropped. And because that just makes everything more difficult.
It does. And it's sometimes big ideas like that kind of control the whole session. You try to, and if you can avoid that, certainly that would be best. I know people don't want to have a special session because it costs the taxpayers money. I know the governor's always been hesitant. Every governor's always hesitant about calling one because of the tax payer money that goes into it. So I would anticipate if you see a special session called, it's always been my experience, if you see a special session called, that some type of deal has been struck, meaning that they have come together prior to this, maybe not with all the nuances and all the details, but maybe with the House saying, look, we have our position, the Senate saying we have our position, and maybe they have kind of struck a deal in principle, and then they're going to come and debate it
in the middle
and go through the process with it, because that happens a whole lot, especially in economic development programs. That happens a lot when you have these special sessions, because the legislators and the governor especially don't want people to be down here for like it was during tort reform, to be here for 3 or 4 months to do a one item special session. So they try to get it done beforehand.
You don't want to get there on one item and then butt heads on it and not be able to work something out.
That's right.
And spending all this money to be in special session. Well, we got to take our next break, but when we come back, I want to talk to you, Nick, about AI. And I know you guys had an ordeal in Corinth, kind of where your area, and I want to get your opinion on what you think about that and how we can stop that from happening in the future. So y'all stay with us. We will be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show right after this break. I'll stay with us. We will be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show right after this break.
.1039 WYAB.
Friday Night Lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now that's our kind of hunt. Make it a sweep the kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South, we keep our football loud and our pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
CBS News special report. At a meeting of his cabinet today, President Trump hailed the agreement between Israel and Hamas to pause their fighting.
So it's been really something incredible that nobody thought it was possible to get it done. And very importantly, the hostages are coming back.
The Israeli cabinet is also meeting, as Haley Ott reports from Tel Aviv.
Today, after that government meeting, is when a 24-hour clock will begin for Israel to retreat to an agreed line that is still within Gaza. Then a 72-hour period will begin for Hamas, during which it will be required to release all of the hostages.
At the UN, Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
We have all waited far too long for this moment. Now we must make it truly count.
He said the UN is ready to coordinate assistance to Gaza once the hostages are released, and President Trump plans to travel to Israel and Egypt in the coming days. CBS News Special Report, I'm Cammie McCormick.
The mowing season is full on here in Mississippi. I'm David Frederick, owner of Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. The industry-changing Exmark Laser Z commercial mower turns 30 years old this year and has been redesigned with even more great features you just have to see. We have a sale going on with instant rebates, and 0% financing is available too. Stop by our store and let our award-winning staff show you the Exmark difference. Fredericks and Exmark, over 3 decades serving you in Brandon since 1993.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
My name is Terry Parkinson. I'm with the Madison County Co-op in Canton. Hunters, we've got the deer food plot and attractants. The Madison County Co-op built a big following and then cultivated it over the years and try to be real competitive on our price and selections. What makes us what we are is you can come in the door, get your ticket and go to back, and we get you loaded and out of there. The Madison County Co-op in Canton, we're about a block southeast of the square. You want to get in there and get out, you come see us.
Craving something extraordinary in Jackson? Manship Restaurant is where your taste buds hit the jackpot. Join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. where your wallet will thank you and your stomach will sing. Indulge in half-price wood-fired pizzas because why pay full price for half the fun? And for just $5, dive into our private barrel bourbon picks. That's right, luxury on a budget. Plus, beat the heat with our frozen drink specials, a tropical escape without the travel expenses. Make your way to the Manship, where happy hour isn't just a time, it's an experience.
Even with interest rates higher than recent norms, real estate values are still holding strong in Mississippi. We caught up again with one of Mississippi's top real estate agents, Shane Saxon, to explain his recent activity in the market.
In the last year or so, it's been the best of my career. Interest rates have been high, but the real estate market is here to stay. Land values especially are continuing to rise. Home values are holding. If you need help with anything in real estate, just give me a call.
Find Shane Saxon on Facebook or give him a call at 601-540-5040. Offer property 601-724-1435.
Welcome back to the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are here with former State Representative Nick Bain. 601-879-0002 is the number. If you want to call in, if you have any questions, anything you want to ask Nick, 601-879-4648 is our text line. If you would like to send a text and have a question or anything you want to say. We were talking about school choice right before the break and how it seems like that's going to be the big topic in this upcoming legislative session. That is, if there's not a special session held prior to that. But Nick, there's another issue that I feel is concerning. I kind of feel like it's Pandora's box. We've let AI out and I don't think there's any going back, but it's insane how far it's come in such a short amount of time. And I know that you guys in your area in Corinth had to deal with an issue at one of the schools, and I've talked at length about this on the show, where a teacher was using AI to make basically pornographic videos of his own students. He would take their pictures from their social media profiles and upload them to this AI app or website and then make these videos. And he was able to resign, and then the superintendent just kind of sat on it for quite some time. Finally, it was taken to the State Department of Education, and they also sat on it for a good while, over a month, right at a month, I think, until turning it over to the authorities. Now, both the superintendent and this teacher have they both been indicted?
Yeah, the superintendent's been indicted, and the teacher both have been indicted in state and federal court. So they have multiple jurisdictions that have gone after them. Yeah, you're exactly right. Apparently, there was this teacher at the Corinth Middle School. He had gained access to passwords of various students and then he created through artificial intelligence sexually explicit photos of these students, and he kept these very sophisticated. He was very sophisticated with computers, and was a computer teacher, I think. And he did this. However, he did this on his school laptop, his school issued computer, and the systems that they had in place. Thank goodness they had. That's right. The BARC system that they had in place notified their IT department, whoever, and then that was turned over to the superintendent. And from what we all gather, it was either forgotten about, not done anything about. That remains to be the scene. To seeing what exactly happened, but for what did happen was it wasn't really reported, and he was allowed. He, being the teacher, was allowed to withdraw and to apply for another job, and had just taken a job with a Tippah County Department of Human Resource, Child Protective Services.
Which, I mean, it doesn't get any crazier.
Yeah,
He goes to work for Child Protective Services.
That's right. And then I don't think he ever actually, I could be wrong, but I don't think he actually ever worked for them. I think he was in the process of getting that, but a job had been accepted, had been offered and had been accepted. So he was there. So it's just a crazy, crazy story. You're exactly right. AI is scary. It is just going in directions that we don't know. I mean, I use it in my law practice to help with stuff, and it is useful, and it's like anything. It has its good qualities, but where does it stop? I read a article this weekend when I was in Chicago with my little boy, and I read an article on the plane about it, just saying, how far does it go? Are we ever going to be able? We're not going to be able to get the toothpaste back into the tube.
Right.
It's here. But how far and how scary is it to know that this is out there?
How do we control and regulate it inside of schools? That's my question, because I don't even know how you teach kids to write an English paper anymore. There's no way to really, I guess, check for plagiarism.
No, and I mean, look, even here we've had here locally. You guys have a federal judge that used it in a court order that cited wrong cases, wrong law, and
it will do. You have to be really careful about bills and bill numbers and if they passed or not, and case law, because it does get that wrong
100%. And I know lawyers that are using it, and one of the things it may cite the correct law but give you a wrong case. Well, that's not really what we do as lawyers. So you want to make sure it's absolutely right. It's scary though. It is a brave new world that we're living in with that AI, and I don't fully understand it. I know we both have a good friend, Jill Ford, who's in the House, who is doing some hearings on that now and trying to see what, if anything, the state can do to regulate it or to make it a little bit more palatable, and both to find a way that it is resourceful and that you can use it correctly. At the same time, protect people like the kids at Corinth Middle School who were hurt by it, and some of them are still being hurt by it every day. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I know those parents were just livid. They had to be fit to be tied. And Jill has put a committee together, and I know they are working to learn and educate themselves as much as possible. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a difficult thing to regulate inside the classroom. And I don't know how we do that or how we even pass legislation for that. It just seems like it's kind of out of control.
Yeah, there and thankfully there's a lot of smarter people than me that understand what can and can't be done with that. But you're exactly right. It goes into, as conservatives, we want freedom to do freedom from government. We want a small government, but we also want to be safe. So we have to find that marriage there. That what can we do as a government to regulate this stuff and still be able to use it? It's absolutely scary, though.
It is. It definitely is. Well, Nick, if the school choice issue does come up in a special session, and that's not something they have to deal with in our regular legislative session. What do you think are going to be the biggest issues coming up in 26?
Yeah, well, that one's controlling that. That's sort of the tail wagging the dog right now. If it goes away, you're still, it's the third year of a term. There's always the old saying among legislators that you do your big hot topic issues the first 2 terms, and your third and fourth terms you do
Kinda
a lot
lay
of
low.
you kind of lay low, do some cleanup, and get ready for the election on the 4th year. So I think you'll see some. Of course, you'll see a budget being passed. There may be some tweaking to PERS. I've heard that. I know the speaker has made a special select committee on PERS. Also, he's made an select committee on the ballot initiative. So maybe we'll see another go at that, along with some other issues with criminal justice and voting rights for felons, and continuing to do that. He spoke up at Ripley a couple weeks ago. The bulk of that talk that he talked about was school choice. So if they handle that in a special session, that will clear up a whole lot of things. And I think they will try to be very efficient in what they do, pass what they need to pass, and get a budget and get home. So that leaves last year they passed a monumental income tax bill that cut the income tax in Mississippi by, I think, the year 2031. We shouldn't have an income tax. So that was a big issue. The first year, one of the things that controlled this during this term was Medicaid expansion. I don't know where that stands. Candidly, I don't know. I don't. Right now, from what I gather, I don't foresee that coming back.
I wonder if it's going to be really different now that Trump has cut so much spending, because their point was, well, the federal government's going to give us this much and it's not going to cost us anything, at least for this long. I don't think they can say that anymore.
Yeah.
It might make it more difficult to get people to hop on this bandwagon.
I agree. And I think a lot of people were waiting to see what Trump's administration would do with Medicaid and with those spending bills. And so I really think it will be I don't know that there will be real big ticket if they pass school choice outside of in a special session. I don't know that there's a real big ticket item, so to speak, other than passing your budget, protecting PERS, and Delbert has talked about another teacher pay raise. Whether that's tied to a school choice bill and in a special session, I don't know, but I've heard that being talked. And of course, we always want to support our teachers and give them what they need to be successful. So anyway, it'll be here before we know it.
It will. It goes by really fast. Time is flying. But Speaker White did put a committee together also for Jackson as well, and the safety. And I know you worked really hard on expanding the CCID.
Yeah, I was a conferee on the CCID bill, along with we had hearings. In 22 or so, or 21, whenever it was, doesn't matter. we had hearings about Jackson crime where I actually had to subpoena.
It's my favorite Nick Bain story when you subpoenaed the mayor.
I had to subpoena Mayor Lumumba because he wouldn't show up to come to a hearing to talk about crime in his city and what he needed from the state to help. So yeah, I had to subpoena the mayor to do that.
That's pitiful.
Yeah, it was, and I'm glad to see that Jackson has a new mayor, someone I served with, John Horn, who I think will do a good job. But yes, we had a part in the CCID. I think it's working. I think it's made Jackson safer. The citizens seem to be happy with it. They have a stronger presence of police on the streets. The courts are up and running now, and proud to see that. And my last year, we expanded it a couple of outwards, a couple of blocks to add some more of the city in it. And Jackson.
How long did you argue that at the well? That was a big deal.
That was my last speech as a legislator. That was my last speech arguing for the CCID. And I remember that speech. Of course, we had people that were coming back and forth, Jackson representatives fighting us and arguing with us. And I argued the exact same thing. I said, look, I drive at the time. I drove further than anybody to get to Jackson from Corinth, Mississippi. It took me 4 hours to get down here. And I drive further, live closer to Illinois than I do to Jackson. But I told them, I said, Jackson belongs to me as much as it does to them. I may not live here, but I spent a big portion of my life here, went to law school here. My oldest child was born here. During the legislature, I would spend 3 months a year here away from my family. So, but more than that, every Mississippian has a stake in the health of Jackson. It is our front door to the world.
That's right.
And it is our front door to economic development. It's our front door to how everybody sees and views Mississippi. So a healthy Jackson and a strong Jackson is good for Mississippi. And whether you're from where I was, from the coast, or from Jackson, you have that vested interest. And that's what I basically said then. And I'm glad to see that we were right, that investing in Jackson was worth the investment.
Yes, absolutely. We got to take our last break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here to wrap things up on this beautiful Thursday afternoon here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. Afternoon here on the Lindsay Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
Looking to elevate your ride? Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck have you covered. From rugged bumpers to sleek step bars, Weston's top-notch accessories will transform your truck into a head-turner. And at Rick's Pro Truck, we specialize in custom installations that bring your vision to life. Visit us today for expert advice and unbeatable deals. Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck, where your truck's potential comes alive. Weston and RPT. Trucks live here.
Tri-County Tree Service, the Jackson Metro's premier company to handle all of your tree service needs. Russ Borland and his team specialize in large tree, low-impact removal. Tri-County Tree Service has the right equipment to safely handle the most technical trim jobs or tree removals. Storm damage can happen year-round, so let them clean it up and they'll deal with your insurance claim. Tri-County Tree Service, by phone at 601-TREE-GUY or online at tricotreeservice.com. That's tricotreeservice.com.
Looking for farm fresh produce, high quality local beef, dairy, and desserts? Look no further than the Farm Store in Flora. We've got the sweetest, juiciest fruits and vibrant vegetables from Two Dog Farms, plus premium beef, all from right here in the community. Whether you're cooking up a feast or just grabbing a healthy snack, the Farm Store has got you covered. Freshness you can taste, prices you'll love. Find us on Facebook at The Farm Store by Two Dog Farm.
When you want your pine trees to grow a little happier and a lot healthier, call on Holcomb Aerial Service. When your crops need dusting, think Holcomb Aerial Service. From the farm to your own pine forest, Holcomb Aerial Service will stimulate growth, eradicate pests, and preserve the value of your crops. Call Holcomb Aerial Service at 601-668-6200. That's 601-668-6200.
Yeehaw! Saddle up, Tallahatchie, for the wildest rodeo in town. Sunday, October 12th at 2 p.m. Head to 122 Justin Drive for a rootin', tootin' good time. There's going to be bulls, broncs, and barrels, and it's all to support the heroic volunteer fire department there in Leesburg, as well as the ever-reaching community outreach. Bring the family for heart-pounding action, food, and fun. That's Sunday, October 12th, 2 p.m., 122 Justin Drive. Don't miss it. Grab cowboy hat and let's rodeo!
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. How does real estate agent Rita Jensen succeed when time is of the essence?
In today's market, it is so important to communicate and close on time. Typically have 30 days to close, get a home inspection, appraisal, title work, that kind of thing is a mortgage process. And a realtor relationship is so important. With a realtor like Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, she helps us to close on time.
RitaJensen.net.
Friday night lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now that's our kind of hunt. Make it a sweep the kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South, we keep our football loud and our pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
We are back. We have about 10 seconds. So I just want to thank Nick Bain for being here. And again, there is a fundraiser tonight. If you want some more information, let me know and I'll give you the details. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.